Hello, grade 5. It's me, Teacher Chet. So today we are going to have 3 lessons to tackle, and this will be about reading strategies, approaches in reading, and context clues. So the first lesson that we will know will be about reading strategies. So what are reading strategies? It is a broad term used to describe the planned and explicit actions that help readers translate print to meaning. So this is the way reading strategy is the way you read or how you will be able to understand the print text so that you will get the meaning. So there are 4 kinds of reading strategies. So the first one here is skimming, a reading technique used to identify the gist of the main idea without reading the entire passage. This is done when you pay attention to the pictures, beginning paragraphs, or summary to get the general idea of the whole text. An example for skimming class is when your teacher told you to turn your book into page 13, and in page 13 there is a story, and and the teacher won't tell you first to read the story, but you're looking at the title. You're looking at the title of the story, so you're like skimming. Okay, you're getting the idea of what is the story about. Okay, so when you read the title, it is skimming. Another example for that is when you pick the newspaper, read the headlines and the first sentences to get the gist of the events happening in your country. Now, most people usually do this class. They read the headlines. Okay, you know the headlines? Okay, very good if you know that. Headlines are the text in front of the newspaper, which is in bold or capital, not in bold letters, but in big letters. Okay, very visible to the eyes. So that's skimming. When you also look into pictures. Okay, when you look into pictures, you will be able to understand what it means in that picture. Okay, so that's the first strategy, skimming. Let's have the second strategy, um, scanning. Scanning, a reading technique used to find specific information quickly. Specific information may include but not limited to dates, names, prices, and events. So an example here is you look at the mall directory to find a specific shop store. Okay, this is scanning because you have a specific you have something to find. You have a specific information that you wanted to find. Okay, for example, in a mall directory, okay, well, if you like to look for restaurants, just like Jollibee, you look in the directory and okay, you look at the directory and find where is the location. You'll directly look into the Jollibee word. Not you'll not read other words, but directly into the Jollibee. Another example for scanning is in calling someone. Okay, when you call someone, you'll need to find the numbers of that somebody or the name, contact information. Okay, so that's it. That is scanning. When you have something, specific information to find. Whereas to skimming, you are just getting the gist. You're getting the main idea. Now, in extensive reading, let's have the third kind of reading strategy. Extensive reading is an approach of reading long text for general understanding with the purpose of reading it. So in extensive reading is here, as you can see here, it is a long reading long text. So you're reading the long text, but at the same time, you're getting the general meaning, but with a purpose. Okay, you enjoy reading it. An example for that is that you read novels like Harry Potter's 7 books. Okay, that's a lot. 7 books, and that's very much extensive reading. Okay, when you read also stories, when your teacher told you to read stories, so that's it. That's the time that it is called extensive reading because you're trying to read the long text of the story and getting the general understanding. Whereas katong ganina sa skimming, kay ang title lang to get the idea of the story. Okay, don't be confused with that. Now, the fourth reading strategy is intensive reading. It is an approach of reading carefully difficult texts. An example of it is when you read carefully the directions of major exams. Well, intensive reading class doesn't mean it's literal that the text is difficult or the word is difficult, but it just means that you have to carefully understand what is in the text. Okay, just like the procedure of something or assembling something. Let's say you have a computer and you have to set that computer well, there is direction. So you have to follow that direction carefully. So in intensive reading, you have to understand the steps there, or you have to understand what you are reading. Okay, so again, what are the four reading strategies? It is skimming, scanning, intensive reading, and extensive reading. Very good. Now let's have the second lesson. Wait, I can move. Okay, the second lesson is about approaches of reading. Now, approaches of reading, there are two types. The first one is silent reading. So it's sometimes considered as recreational reading or independent reading. Well, in silent reading, you only read through your mind, and it is also independent because you usually do it by yourself. Okay. Now, the second reading approach is oral reading, and this lesson will partly focus on the following are necessary to ponder when reading aloud. So, oral reading, meaning you're reading aloud, just like what I am doing. I am reading aloud, or I am saying, talking aloud, or also what is in the presentation. So, the first necessary things to remember about reading aloud is the word stress. Word stress in polysyllabic words or words with more than one syllable or one syllable receives more stress than the others to give it more importance and emphasis. So in word stress, there are stress in the words given depending on the syllable in each syllable of the word. Okay, an example here is category. So as you can see, the word category, the CA here is bold. So category. Ca. There is the stress. Now the second word is photo. Photo. Okay, the PHO, photo. Okay, the third word here is photographer. Photographer. So, okay, TOG. It is the one that is in bold, so there is the stress. Photographer. Let's have we have here two words in the same spelling, but different in stress. So the first one is a noun, project. It is project. The second one is project. Project. Project meaning pose. The one here, the noun here, project meaning something to pass. Your output, okay? That's it. So the stress here really is a need during oral reading because there are words that have the same spelling, just like the example here, project and project, in which emphasis or the word stress is very much needed. Now, the second approach, oral reading, that you need to understand, you need to remember is the sentence stress. Content words are stressed, while function words and somehow prepositions are not stressed. So, content word, for example, the word here, mark, walk, mammoth, tomorrow. So, these are the words that should be in stress. Okay? In stress, if we are talking in a whole sentence. Katong ganina nga, kuan, stress, kuan ganina, word stress, so to siya, kani siya kay, sentence stress naman. So we're talking about here in a sentence. So ang yahadiri, the content words, the nouns, okay? The nouns, adjectives, verbs, these are the one that is you are going to stress in a sentence. Well, the is has in or the function words, well, you have to just not stress those. So, for example, mark is enjoying. Mark is enjoying. Okay, have you noticed the word is not stressed. So Mark is enjoying. Now, the third one is phrasing and pausing. Generally, pauses are made of group of words that expresses an idea, such as a phrase or a clause. So the example here, cheating should be stopped as early as the child set the foot in the school. So here you can see cheating. So there's idea, so pause. Should be stopped, pause. As early as the child set foot in the school. Okay, so you have pauses also as well. You will know when to pause or what phrase you have to pause for a while. Okay, so that's the third thing you have to remember during or having reading aloud. Then the fourth one is blending. Within the thought group, words and syllables are not pronounced as separate units. They should follow along smoothly. So example here, did you eat your lunch? Did you eat your lunch? Did you eat your lunch? As you can see, you say it fluently. Did you eat your lunch? Not did you eat your lunch? Okay, you don't do that. Did you eat your lunch? It's did you eat your lunch? So that's blending. It's the fourth thing to remember when you're reading aloud or doing oral reading. And the fifth one or the last one to remember is the intonation. Intonation is the tune of what we say. It has something to do with the pitch level of our voice or tone, which, together with stress and rhythm, conveys differences of expressive meaning. For example, you're angry, surprised, serious, sad, humorous. So intonation is very important. Okay, this will show if this will express on how you feel from the words that um, you have been reading. So in English grammar, a falling intonation at the end of the phrase of the sentence suggests an assertion, while a rising intonation indicates a question. So when you read a sentence in a question, it is from falling to rising. So, are you hungry? Are you hungry? And then for assertion, no, I'm not hungry. See the difference? So that's it for the approaches of reading, the silent reading, and the things to remember during oral reading. Now let's go on to the third lesson. Now, context clues. Context clues are hints to help you identify the meaning of the unfamiliar word. So when you are reading class and you have found words that are difficult to understand or you don't know the meaning of that word or it is unfamiliar, context clues are there to help and assist you to get the meaning of that word. There are four types of context clues, and the first one here is equivalent or synonym. So the writer uses a similar word to help explain the meaning of the unfamiliar word. Now, the example here, she hums continuously or all the time, and it annoys me. The unfamiliar word here is the word continuously, and the context clue here is the word all the time. So it is a synonym to the word continuously. Okay, did you get that, class? So always remember synonym, similar word. Now the second type of context clue is opposite or antonym. The writer contrasts a word or an idea with its direct opposite. So unlike synonym, the similar word in using the antonym, it uses the opposite idea. Example, Marty is gregarious and like his brother who is quiet and shy. The unfamiliar word is gregarious and the context clue here is quiet and shy. So the meaning of gregarious is that he is loud or he is not like Marty is not like his brother that is quiet and shy. Okay, class, that is antonym. Now the third context clue is Definition or a statement. The writer gives the meaning of the unfamiliar word within the sentence, usually following the difficult word. But here in our example, Lou was sent to the haberdashery to find a new suit. He needed to wear one for his uncle's wedding. So it is not in a sentence. There are two sentences here, but we can guess that the unfamiliar word haberdashery is a place for clothes because Lou will find a new suit, okay, to wear. Okay, needed to wear. The context clue is needed to wear. So meaning the haberdashery is a place for clothes. So it is still restating what is the unfamiliar word or what does haberdashery is. So the last one, context clue, is the explanation or example. The writer provides the series of examples or additional information about the vocabulary word to unravel its meaning. Example here, we know the dog has a kind disposition because we've never seen bite or scratch anyone. So the unfamiliar word here is disposition, and the context clue because we've never seen her bite or scratch anyone. So it is an example from the word because it is an example. Okay? Okay, now let's review class. Again, what are the four kinds of reading strategy? Skimming, scanning, intensive reading, extensive reading. Very good. How about the two types of reading approach or approaches in reading? Silent reading and oral reading. So oral reading has word stress, sentence stress, phrasing and pausing, blending, and intonation. So those are on oral reading. And how about the four types of context clues? The first one, equivalent or synonym. The second one, opposite or antonym. Third is definition or restatement and explanation or example. So remember those class, for those will be our basis for the activity later at 2 p.m. And uh, thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye. See you at 2:10.